Tokyo, what I really enjoyed was just the city life. Like, that's not something that you see every day here in Walnut. It's so like suburban. You know, you just see houses and industries. You don't really see billboards and LED lights like with anime on it or just everything in general. You go there and there's so many signs screaming at you, and going to Tokyo is always a new adventure. Even if I went there before, it's kind of like you go to a store and you discover new things. You learn more and you see that there's just so much more to offer in one single city, one single train stop.
My favorite district in Tokyo, I think it was Asakusa. I think it's because we spent the most time in Asakusa area when we were in Tokyo, and we got to live in that city. Well, I always loved aquarium to begin with. To be able to experience and see how Japanese people display God's creation was amazing to me. I think it was really crazy how there were also like background music. It made the whole atmosphere, the whole environment so pleasing and so inviting, and also sensual in a way that you were able to experience the environment in all different types of senses of your body.
We were able to go visit Tsukiji Fish Market, which was on my bucket list for so long. This year I was really determined to make that trip, and Yuko-san was really flexible with us. So during our free days, she was like, y'all want to go anywhere? And I was like, Tsukiji Fish Market for sure. And she was like, yeah, like we can do that. And
my favorite food that we ate during this trip was the sashimi bowl that we had at Tsukiji. It was so fresh and it was so good. It's just something that you can't really experience in the US. And Ari and I got to eat some seared otoro, which was really, really nice. It just melts in your mouth. I really enjoyed that sashimi bowl.
I like Nagano the most, just because it's a place that I've never been to. I went to Yokohama and Tokyo because I used to live there, but Nagano is a countryside that I've never been to.
I feel like it has to be Nagano because of the countryside and how chill it was there. I really like the peacefulness and the onsens and how there was just a lot less people there.
Going there with the bullet train was really exciting, and once I got there I could see that I would love to stay in a countryside even longer because everything was so green and people knew each other because their neighbors are like so close, and I like that close-knit community where there's relationships built already.
There was a lot less noise, a lot less cars, and it was just nice to walk around the place and to feel peace.
The beauty of the town just screams like peace to me, and I just felt really at home even though I've never been there. So I like Nagano a lot. Alright, the Japanese ryokan, that was my first experience at a ryokan, so that was really nice. And this traditional breakfast meal included like a lot of side dishes and poached egg, which look honestly really amazing. We all try to take a shot of people breaking that egg, and it was not just like a meal, but it was also an experience that I think I would not forget. It was in a tatami room, everyone wearing the yukatas, and it just felt really Japanese, but I loved it because I felt really in like one with the culture, and that's not something I can experience here in America or Walnut, so I'm really thankful we had the opportunity.
I think the onsens was the most enjoyable thing for me because we were constantly always with people and we were forced to be together and there was really no alone time. And I really, really like baths. So it was nice to just be by myself, have my own downtime, and just relax in like a really healthy thing, I guess. I think it's good for you.
Konbini is my favorite place. It's so convenient. I mean, konbini is literally this short for convenience stores in Japanese.
Oh, I like everything about it.
So you go there and you can spend maybe $5 for a full meal, and it's pretty legitimate. It's like good.
It was such a great experience for me personally because I got to share what, the things that I grew up eating with, people that I love,
Because you could just go to the nearby Lawson or Family Mart or 7-Eleven and it has everything for you, all the way from like legitimate meals to rice balls, the ones that are like triangular called onigiri, and all the way to like junk food too.
Oh, favorite food at Konbini were definitely the rice balls. I know it's so simple, but it just brings so much nostalgic memory. So I loved eating rice balls or like onigiri that had mentaiko, which is like a type of fish egg, and that's like a little spicy.
Well, because we were mainly eating breakfasts at the konbinis, I had like the katsu with rice, and it was really, really good. I was comparing it with a katsu that was freshly served here, and I was saying that like a cold katsu rice in a konbini heated up was better than a katsu rice that was freshly made here.
So Japanese breakfast is like, thank God that convenience stores exist.
Really looked forward to our breakfast every morning.
My favorite part about coaching, I think just being able to encourage them, even though it was something as simple as good job. It was something that they never really heard. It was really foreign to them. And so every single time we said good job to them, it was hard for them to swallow it and take it in, but after spending like a 3-day camp with them, at the end of it, they started like smiling and they started like realizing that we were actually saying good job because we actually think they did a good job instead of saying good job out of a place of being ungenuine.
The thing I enjoyed the most about the basketball camps was seeing how basketball really broke down language barriers, cultural barriers, maybe even like spiritual barriers, emotional barriers.
My favorite thing about teaching with the kids is probably how much of a difference I saw in their faces from the time that we saw each other until the end. So in the beginning, no one talked, no one laughed. It was like dead silent in one of the basketball camps. But within a span of just 2 to 3 hours, you could see them making more eye contacts with you, smiling wider, and even making their own inside jokes.
It was so cool and awesome to see how the coaches were able to encourage and empower students.
It was really nice to see that they were open up to us and how much fun they were having. And I think the blessing that I had was to witness that up close and personal. First-handedly, it was really good.
It was really cool that basketball became the instrument or like the tool in which God was able to move in students' lives. And yeah, I'm not a basketball player, but just be able to see that in such a close proximity made me be wowed by how God could use our passions, God could use things that we're gifted at to reach out to different kinds of people, and that actually crosses different kinds of boundaries. My main responsibility for this trip was to translate.
Translating throughout the entire basketball camp was probably the most tiring thing.
The basketball camp was definitely a challenge.
Like, I didn't realize that translator had so much work to do even outside of the camp, because there was a language barrier and most of our team members didn't know how to speak Japanese. We still had to constantly translate even afterwards.
What is this ice cream? Or what is this rice ball? Like, what's inside of this? Like even little things like that. I was able to serve the people on our team by just translating. Translating, it really made me realize how much of a gift language is.
I think for me personally, what I struggled with the most was that I don't play basketball, obviously, and so when our directors or coaches would explain something, I was only able to directly translate, but not in basketball terminology.
The most difficult part about coaching was myself not being able to really connect with them, it was always through a translator, and I wanted to say a lot more things, but I was so restricted. It was just good job. It was just it's okay, and those are the only things that I could say to them in their language. I wanted to do like a whole motivational speech with them, saying that like it doesn't matter if you mess up, it doesn't matter if you missed a layup, if you drop the ball. Mistakes help you grow, and we encourage mistakes because if we don't make mistakes, then we're not human.
We actually had TP, one of the other coaches, explain and translate after translation. So what happened was coaches would speak and we would translate from English to Japanese, and then TP would translate from Japanese to basketball Japanese. And that was helpful, but for me it was really challenging because I didn't know how to explain things in the perspective of basketball players. The most difficult part about traveling was that we had to travel manually, and what that means is like we carried all of our luggages through train stations, fighting through the crowds, and we walked so much distance.
The travel really got to me because I was carrying my backpack with all my luggage in it. We were helping other people carry out their luggages too, so I constantly had a backpack and then another luggage, and it was just constant moving and traveling with it.
The transportation situation was very tiring and exhausting.
That took a really big hit on us as a team because we felt physically drained, and you could see people starting to not care about others. It was a challenge to put others before yourself and really love and care amidst just this challenge of traveling.
Yuko and I were mainly the ones, buying tickets and making sure that we have enough tickets for however many people that were on the team, and also making sure that we're arriving at certain train station on time so that we could catch a specific train. So there were moments where we were just like rushing and running with our luggages.
For a lot of the times we would go to the camps with our luggages, with my backpack, with another luggage, and then we'd have to go to a train station by walking to it with my backpack, with my luggage, and the train station to another train station, to another train station, to another train station, and then we'd have to walk back to our own place.
But I think that our team was able to overcome that by addressing it in the middle of the trip and say, hey guys, like, I know y'all are tired and traveling really is not the best thing that we want to do, but even then, this is what we have to do. But let's not make it into a task, let's make it into something that we could actually love each other through. I think traveling Japan, although as difficult as it was really valuable for our team unity and dynamic.
So it was really tiring, but then at the same time, I think those were the moments where I felt like, oh, we're a team, because people were just like asking each other if they needed help, or just making sure that everybody's okay and counting heads. And so it was a stressful time, but also a very unifying time because we all knew that we're going through this together.
Spiritual warfare was prominent there. Although you can't really see it in the physical sense, you can sense it spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Every time we try to go and minister to some place, there will be always some problems that will cause our team to feel anxious, nervous, stressed out, impatient, or cranky. And I think that was kind of the enemy's way of taking out our hope and joy, which was our vision to the kids there.
Spiritual warfare in Japan was very real to me. There were a lot of moments where I felt like this overwhelming heaviness as we entered certain places or as we encountered certain situations. There's just like this overwhelming sense of oppression over our team or myself.
Spiritual warfare hit me, I feel like, every single morning, but there's one specific day when I woke up after a bad dream, and in that dream I lost a sense of hope and I lost a sense of joy. And so throughout the entirety of the day I was operating from a place of absolutely no hope and absolutely no joy, and it was just really obvious that the enemy was trying to attack that area of me because we were trying to spread hope and joy.
There was one night where I guess a group of us were sitting by the couch, and Mike came into the room saying, you know, he is experiencing some pain in his ankle, and so a couple of us were praying over him, and that actually started to lead us into a deeper spiritual warfare. It wasn't just about healing anymore, it was about stepping into the territory, the spiritual territory of Japan, and the enemy didn't like that. And the group really felt like, wow, we're in a battle where it's not just about enemy against OAM, but it's about the enemy against anybody who is here to bring the gospel to the nation of Japan.
He was trying to take out the main ingredients of what we're trying to serve, and I guess that worked to an extent, but it actually backfired on the enemy because we used those situations to pray together as a team. And you know, whenever we recognized that it was a spiritual warfare and that we needed God's help, we're able to come together and unite even deeper than before.
Throughout the trip, I realized that prayer is really powerful. And there would be days where I would be praying the entire day for the team. I would constantly be praying, constantly be worshiping, and that day would go smoothly, and then the next day I would wake up and I wouldn't do that, and things would just start happening, and it just shows the significance and the power of prayer and how much God moves through that.
Spiritual warfare in Japan with the statues is intense because I feel like in this place the enemy really doesn't want us to come in. Less than 1% of Japanese are Christians, and so they really didn't want us to be there. But you can tell that in this spiritual warfare that our God was even greater, that we were able to break through to some camps, and people even asked to share of our testimonies. So yeah, there was still a way for us to get through it.
But before all the camps and before everything, I was asking God to help me to see people the way He sees people, to help me to feel the same things that He felt towards them. And so going into the camps with that vision, with that mindset, with that feeling, it was so much easier to love them, and my eyes were open to how much the Father loves me personally, and yeah.